Welcome to my YouTube channel, everyone. In this episode, we are going to do a retrospective on a PS1 game called Fluid. A very different type of game, I gotta say. Fluid is a music video game developed by Opus. It was first released in Japan in 1996 under the name Depth, and later it was released in the West by Sony Computer Entertainment in 1998. And I remember the first time when I played this game was on a registered user's demo that I got back in 1998, and while at first I was a bit confused with the game, once I understood what Fluid was all about, I actually liked it because not many games at the time allowed for the player's creative input, and Fluid was doing exactly that. So you start the game in the Silent Space, which is basically the game's hub world, and you control a dolphin. I like to believe that the dolphin's name is Fluid for whatever reason. But yeah, the dolphin doesn't really do much apart from swimming around and jumping out of the water. In order to jump out of the water, you need to rapidly press the swim button while heading towards the surface. There are 12 crew stages that you need to play in order to collect music patterns that you can then mix in the Groove Editor and create music loops for each of the crew stage. The Groove Editor gives you 8 channels to mix, and you can choose a melody or a rhythm pattern for each of the channels. You can also change each of the track's volume and toggle some other effects too, which I think is really cool. And so this was like my first introduction to music editing. I remember I used to draw a lot back in the days. I've always been like very artistic, but Fluid showed me how to channel my imagination and creativity through sounds. And you know, like discovering a different type of self-expression that is music was like mind-blowing for the 12-year-old me. Up until that point, I was only a listener, and Fluid showed me that I could do more with music than just listen to it. And so I remember I spent like hours, playing the demo, mixing all the available music patterns in the Groove Editor. And I've tried so many combinations, and it was just so addictive, and of course I would also play the other games on that demo, but I would always get stuck on Fluid. That synth riff from the first crew stage piece was so serene and comforting, like it always made me relax and even get aroused sometimes, because let's be honest, like the music in Fluid would fit perfectly in an adult movie. So how do you unlock the crew stages and the music patterns? First, you enter a crew stage and then you get out. Then you go to the Groove Editor, and when that's open, just exit. Then you go back to the same crew stage and wait for the R1 button icon to show on the screen. When you see it, just press and hold it, and that will grant you access to the next crew stage. When you are in the next crew stage, just exit and so on, and that's how you unlock all the crew stages and the music patterns. By the way, while you are in the crew stages, you can also play some additional melodies and sounds on top of the playback by using the buttons on the controller. But those melodies are kind of random, but still. Also, depending on which part of the screen you are, the music will emphasize certain channels. And each crew stage has 2 music tracks, and you can switch between those two by pressing the select button. You can also travel from one crew stage to the next when the L1 and R1 buttons appear on the screen. So in terms of presentation, Fluid reminds me a bit of the Demo 1 Manta. It's just Fluid is a bit more advanced, if you will. It's almost as if the developers took the idea of Manta and made a whole game out of it, and I remember I liked Manta on the Demo 1, and I think that was one of the reasons why I liked Fluid. I just love watching the visuals in this game, they are so psychedelic and relaxing. Some levels are very creative and visually stunning, and some are just nonsensical and very dreamy, which I actually really like. Fluid has like an antidepressant effect on me, and when the visuals are combined with the music, it's like almost like meditation, filling you with this positive energy or something. It's hard to choose which stage I like the most. They are all quite unique, maybe the first crew stage piece, it still puts me in a naughty mood. Then the garden, the crystal, the flower and the woods are really cool stages. And the temple stage actually reminds me of Stratovarius episode album cover, you know, which is really cool. And my least favorite stage would probably be the tube, because there's nothing special about it, you know, it's kind of boring. Now, as I was playing this game, I actually discovered some secret stages that I didn't even know existed in this game. And in order to access them, you need to stay in the same crew stage for about 2.5 minutes. And when you do that, you will see some question marks appear on the screen that will lead you to the secret stage. But the thing is, you can't stay in the stages for too long. They last like for 10 to 15 seconds or something, and they will always throw you back to the main crew stage. It's unclear how many hidden crew stages there are in the game, but I believe they are samples of crew stages that weren't used, and I guess the developers still wanted to show them off somehow, and this is what they came up with. And you know what, like some of these stages are actually really cool. There are also some visuals in the Groove editor that you can play with, but those are kind of boring, you know, very basic, you know, nothing special about them. I guess I would like them if they had like an aquatic theme or something, but yeah, they're quite boring, to be honest. So Fluid is a very obscure title, and I believe that unless you had the demo back in the days, you wouldn't know about it. Personally, I'm glad I discovered it, you know, I just love the music in this game, you know, with all the electronic drum and bass and tribal elements in it, you know. It sounds so 90s, you know, it's almost as if Fluid has the PS1 sound spirit in it or something, you know. It's pointless to suggest this game to anyone, you know. It's an extremely niche title. It's not exactly a game actually, it's basically a music mixing lab and a visualizer. Most people who play this game don't usually get it, you know, and find it way too weird and pointless. I guess you only get it if you played it back then, you know, and it touched certain pressure points in your brain. Personally, I love this game, you know, and I really appreciate it for introducing me to music production, you know, because I myself became a musician and a composer. I actually wrote and produced the music track that I'm using as an intro and outro for this channel. And I also have an aggrotech band called Chamaeleon. If you're interested to check us out, you can find the link in the video's description down below. But yeah, this was my retrospective on Fluid. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out my channel, and until next time.